Good evening, everyone. My name is Maazi, Ezeoke, and welcome to this evening conversation. As usual, this is part of the State of the Nation conversations that we do have here on Njenje Media TV. Today, I do have a very interesting guest here, and we will be having a very interesting conversation. I have here with me Umar Ibrahim Ahmed. Umar Ibrahim Ahmed is the CEO of the Farms Computers Limited. He has a Bachelor's Engineering, Chemical Engineering from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. He is a businessman. He's also a political strategist. This evening, as the topic suggests, we will do justice to it. Umar, once more, welcome to Njenje Media TV.
Thank you very much for having me, Maazi.
Okay.
And
So, Umar,
may I apologize for coming late.
Yes, and I must also say to our guests, our viewers, that we were slightly behind schedule, and that was as a result of some technical challenges. Now, the topic this evening will center around the 2023 presidential election. And we want to look at voting P2B, the new narrative in northern Nigeria. Now, Umar, I want to start by saying, in the last couple of days, we have seen the political parties make their choices as regards to who will, be their flag bearer. It started with the PDP, and we saw the PDP have, elected Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, a man who is from the Northeast. We have also seen the Labour Party have picked a man that many of you know very well, Mr. Peter Obi, the former governor of Anambra State. And the APC has gone ahead to pick Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu from the Southwest. Also, the NMPP has picked a man the people in the North also know very well, also across Nigeria, that is in the person of Alhaji Kwankwaso. 2 days ago, there was a slight drama at the ADC party where a frontrunner, Professor Kingsley Moghalu, was suddenly beaten by someone who joined the party recently. Looking at all these things, what's your take? And where should Nigerians be looking at come 2023? Where do you think, from your perspective as an entrepreneur, and from your perspective as a young Nigerian, from your perspective as someone who resides in the North, where do you think Nigerians should be looking at, and for what reason?
Thank you very much. I think that will be a very easy question. If you ask me, I'll suggest that Nigeria pick Peter Obi quite easily, in fact. But politics is not played like that. Peter Obi is a relatively obscure name here in northern Nigeria. It's not a household name, even as in the grassroots, so to speak. But that is what we want to change, because looking at the other two candidates in the race, because those are the only two people I'm seeing. The two parties that are concerned, as far as Nigerians are concerned, is Atiku Abubakar on one hand and Ahmed Bola Tinubu on the other hand. But if I were to, digest or break down what I see with regards to their candidacy, let's take Atiku on one hand. Atiku Abubakar have served in the capacity of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria between 1999 and 2007. Within that period, what we are experiencing today in Nigeria were present as at that time. I don't know what magic wand somebody like Atiku Abubakar have to change the narrative today, with today's Nigeria, with the reality we're facing? I don't know what magic wand. Don't forget that after his tenure as vice president, 2007, he came back to contest for the presidency against Musa Yar'Adua. I'm sorry, Umar Yar'Adua, and lost that election, unfortunately for him. And he came back to the APC in 2013, 2014, with the new PDP gang. I would say that after losing the primaries to President Muhammadu Buhari, I would expect a man who have answers to the problems of Nigeria to stay in the party, share your ideas with the current president, if you do have those ideas that you think will move this nation forward. But why wait? Why punish Nigerians? Why hoard your ideas and wait until it is time, 8 years after, and you're coming to present yourself and tell us you have a solution to the problem of Nigerians? You've been in the political arena for 23 years. 23 years straight. If you have this solution, you've been in the ruling party, you became an opposition, you lost the primaries to Muhammad Buhari, instead of sharing your ideas, you left them. I think such a person should not offer himself to Nigerians. And quite frankly, for me personally, I would simply just shove him aside. Politics, let's forget politics. This is Nigeria. We are talking of a country of over 185 million people. And we keep recycling this kind of leader, somebody who have been here for 23 years. I think that of Atiku Abubakar is totally out of it. Then when we come to the person of Alhaji Ahmed Bola Tinubu, if we are being frank, age is not on his side. I won't want to go into details.
But he's not older than Atiku.
That's what we say. I don't want to accuse anybody of football age or anything, but you saw the videos in the just concluded primaries, and you could see the person, our presidential hopeful, practically shaking to hold a piece of paper. He couldn't. I don't think that Nigeria leadership should be one of. We are in a dire situation in this country. We're in a dire situation in this country. Some people will argue that yes, he has the intellect to bring in those who work for him. We voted a strong man, for crying out loud. Everybody shouted about his past military, his past military history will help in the fight against Boko Haram, the insecurity in the country. But here we are. Here we are today, 7 years after. You could say, and I would argue, I know many people will talk about bombs. Bombs are no longer exploding anywhere in the country. But beyond that, if you look at the numbers, of death, I am telling you, and I am not going to mince words, it was under Buhari than it was during Jonathan. The numbers, we are talking about numbers here, numbers of people, Nigerians, his constituents. The numbers are too high. So I'm not trying to digest the Buhari's government because
are you saying this? Are you saying this from a northern perspective? That as someone who lives in the north, and you think that we have more dead people now than we had when the bombs were going up?
Yes, I am saying that. Yes, I'm saying that with my face very, very boldly displayed here. I am saying that the numbers, if we are to go by the numbers, I am telling you this, that the numbers are far more than it was during Jonathan. And Nigerians were fed up with Jonathan's government as at that time because of the insecurity. We knew, it was new to us. It was scary. Here in the north, we know what we went through. And it was that bad. But today, I can guarantee you that even without bombs exploding anywhere in the north, all of the north, not just, there's no particular, the 19 northern states, and possibly, in fact, let's say including other parts of the country like the southeast, people hardly sleep with their eyes closed. They can walk into your house and kidnap you any time of the day. So there's a problem. There's a serious security problem. So the person of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, I think that with the rigors of what is demanding of the office of the president today, we shouldn't have such a man at the helm of affairs. That's one angle. And then when you look at the fact that a president to be, or a politician to say on live TV that he feels like the presidency should be his rights, like a rite of passage from Buhari to him, because he did this or did that, because he brought in he brought politicians here and there. The vice president was part of his choosing and all that. The merger between himself and Buhari brought about Buhari's winning in 2015 and all that. And for that reason, you look at over 40 million Southwesterners and tell them to their faces that it is the turn of Yoruba, and the turn of Yoruba is your turn. You did not see that there are over 40 million Yoruba-speaking people in Nigeria who are as competent as you are. Nigeria's presidency shouldn't be one where people just exchange like a monarchy. I don't think it is right. So there are several other facts that I think would disqualify the person of Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But I am here to say that I don't see them, quite frankly, despite the lack of structure that people want to use against the candidacy of Peter Obi. I still do not see those other two candidates as any threat.
Now,
yes,
let's narrow this down to northern Nigeria.
Yes.
And permit me to say here, when I make reference to northern Nigeria, and I would want to do that loosely, and in reference to the northwest and the northeast. Obviously, the middle belt is a different nomenclature. You have an Atiku Abubakar, who is from the northeast. You have Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is from the southwest. Yes. And these two men are Muslims. And you have a president that will be finishing his tenure by next year, who is from the northwest. Then I ask, is there any narrative within northern Nigeria, regarding the eastern region? Like I recall one of the conversations where it appears to be there is a narrative over the years that have been told and told and told to say, people, beware of these people, that they will never come close to power. Bearing in mind where this region is and what, predominantly the religion of this region. What's your take?
Okay, thank you very much. First off, I think my conviction to follow the Peter Obi train was to that regards. It was informed by that very reason, because I thank God I am 40 plus, and I have been privileged by God to see governance over the years. And quite frankly, I can't say what we've benefited from this one-sided narrative where we would not give the Igbo man a chance, a shot at Aso Rock. I do not consider that as fair. But beyond that, I think I have argued severally on Twitter, and it has actually painted me in the the black books of some Easterners who are my followers, with regards to how I speak about the Easterners, the Igbo man in Nigerian politics. And I have always insisted that politics will not be given to you by your threats. Politics will not be given to you by gaslighting the rest of Nigeria. I think at best, what you should do is to get Nigerians to trust you enough and say, okay, I think it's time. All that fear after post civil war should now take the back seat, and let's try an Igbo man. But before that is done, I think we need to build bridges. The Igbo man needs to show for certain that, okay, you can trust us. We are Nigerians. We want to work for the good of Nigerians and all that. But does the Igbo man have to come out and say that to Nigerians? Isn't it very clear, very boldly written, that the Igbo man have actually labored for Nigeria more than any other tribe in Nigeria? I think it beggars belief for anybody to expect the Igbo man to even, because the bridges are already built as far as I'm concerned. I'm a businessman. I can guarantee you that in the field, in my business field, the kind of business I operate, 95% of Northerners who are in that business is getting supplies of those same goods from an Igbo man. What more do you need? These are people you buy from every day.
But isn't that, hold on, if I may interject here,
yes,
isn't that a contradiction? In one breath, you said that they paid their price. In the other, before now, you said that the reason of the reason that many Southeasterners disagree with you on Twitter is because you say that they have to prove that they can, handle the president. So the two statements, aren't they in a
actually
variance?
they are not contradictory in any way.
No, if they are, because if you're saying that they have actually paid the price, and at the same time, if they paid the price of qualifying, and at the same breath saying, well, they have to do something too, then I mean they are contradictory.
Okay, we're talking about the building bridges on individual terms. If you go on Twitter, for example, you see handles who say you have to give us power, or it is the right of the Igbo man to rule. This part have ruled, that part have ruled, and then those narratives, and then there are all those stereotypes, especially of the Fulani man, and naturally the Hausa man down here, the Fulani man down here feels, oh, what this narrative that we've held for long, or that our parents have passed on to us about the Igbo man being maybe domineering and all that, it's clearly written here, because this is what they say on Twitter, this is what they say on Twitter. These are narratives that are very, very boldly written on Twitter. When you go on Twitter, you see them, you see the back and forth, the argument between Northerners and Southeasterners. So these are just, on one side, an individual advice. But on the broader political scene, I am saying for sure that the Igbo man have done far more than every other tribe in this country to deserve a shot at the presidency. And I am giving you several examples from my business angle. And also, let's look at sports, for example. You see them there. You go to every sport in this country, football, basketball, just name them. It's the Igbo man that is representing Nigeria. He carries Nigeria, virtually wears Nigeria everywhere. Meet them outside this country, they wear Nigeria everywhere. So I think, I don't know why on the political scene, it becomes a narrative, a doubt that the Igbo man can actually steer Nigeria without sentiment, or without actually disenfranchising a part of the country. We've seen other people lead. The Yoruba man have led this country. The Hausa man, let me not say the Hausa, the Hausa Fulani, because I think anyway that's that word that's coined, it's funny to me. But let me just make it on a broader term. The Hausa Fulani man have ruled this country, and we see where we are today. I don't think that we should continue punishing the Igbo man for something that happened some 50 years ago, and that we carry that out. I think it is hypocritical, because we've not done better.
Let me interject here.
Yes.
I want to, for this interview, I want to, move a little bit. I want to go back to history. I believe you are, in as much as history is taken out of the curriculum in Nigeria, I believe you are very a good student of history.
I am not, but then I will try.
Yeah, I believe you have read the Nigerian Biafran War. I believe also there are narratives that we may not know down south that exist.
Yes.
If I go back there and I will say, before the outbreak of that war, there appeared to be a synergy amongst or between the North, in quotes, and the East in general. Reference here, Eastern Nigeria, not South.
Yes.
Now, over the years, and since after the war, and many of those who left came back. They've lived in harmony. But when politics comes, it appears that things begin to go astray. Then the question that I want to ask you, as a young man, you said at the beginning that you're 40 years old and you are a CEO of a computer company there in Kaduna. What is your view vis-a-vis the narratives you have heard growing up and your view of the Easterners you have doing business within Nigeria?
Thank you very much. I think on a personal term, they are, in fact, I would say, the best people you can do business with, for how they see business, for how they take business. And I actually learned a lot from doing business with the Igbo man. I would say that for an Igbo man, the average Igbo man doesn't see any other thing than his pursuit of life, his pursuit of, to succeed generally. It might come off as being too eager, being too money conscious, being too bold, and all that. But success demands all these ingredients. So it's naturally not their fault for being who they are when it comes to business. But yes, I know on a subtle note, we've seen, and the Nigerian populace have seen that, other than the Igbo man, have seen that, like, oh, the Igbo man likes money. The Igbo man will kill anybody for money. The Igbo man will do this for money. But I think that success, if one has to succeed, then those ingredients must be there. So I don't see anything wrong with an Igbo man. I hope that answers your question.
Well, I mean, obviously that does, but the area I'm looking at is the narrative. Obviously,
Yes.
growing up, the narrative you've heard, does that play out in any way, shape, or form in the realities
pre and post Biafran War? I think I would say from first-hand discussions I've had with people who were alive as at that time, apart beyond what I read, books I have read, it seems to be that on the ground, there was a cordial relationship between Easterners and Northerners before the war. However, when the coup happened, this relationship actually soured. This relationship failed because what is present today in Nigeria, the kind of politics we play in Nigeria today, was the same thing we were playing back then, where people were divided on tribal and religious grounds, on regional grounds. And I think this informed some of the narrative, very painful narratives, where I really don't want to go deep into them. I think at best we have grown past that. We should try and see how we can fix that broken relationship. But what interested me most was when an elderly man here in Sedona Christian, Kaduna, gave me a very, very touching story about how during the war, even there were Igbo people that they were living close together with, and prior to the war, just immediately after the coup, there were some slogans against Northerners and all that, but they didn't care. And even after the war, they protected the properties of these Igbo people. And when they came, they met their properties intact. In fact, some of them were collecting rent for properties belonging to Igbo people. They collected rent, they stacked them together, kept them until these Igbo people came back and collected their properties. Especially it was that widespread in all of northern Nigeria, where you hear stories of how people protected the properties of Igbo people. So that tells you that outside politics, there seemed to be a very good relationship between the Igbo man and the average northerner in the business angle, living together. Tudunwada and Kaduna had Igbo people that were born and bred and brought up there, of my age bracket, and in fact, some who are older than I am. Today, when you come to Tudunwada, you hardly see an Igbo man because Kaduna has been stratified into two opposing sides, with one side dominated by Christians and the other side dominated by Muslims. But during that historic time, they lived together peacefully with no grudges against each other until the coup happened. And it was a mistake from some set of disgruntled military men. And I think if we keep looking at those history, we'll keep digging up ones that we want to heal. So I really don't want to go into much
No,
of
sure,
that.
no. I just want us to touch, because one of the things my takeaway from what you've just said now is that after the war, while some regions of this country had what they called abandoned properties and had some properties seized, that even
Exactly.
those within the north, when they came back, they got their properties back.
Yes, and I'm sure there are elders from the east who can confirm these facts I am talking about. I still have this elderly man here in Sedona Christian who can actually confirm that. You see, so these are facts that are out there. I'm not the first person to have brought this fact. I'm sure you might have read books that have actually confirmed and validate these points I'm making about that
Now,
relationship.
if I leave that historical context and come back to your state of Kaduna, in
Yes.
your state, in the last election, you have Muslim ticket.
Yes.
And that is also, that's obviously is going to be there till next year, the next election. Now,
Yes.
what's your honest view on a Muslim ticket in a state or in a nation? Or rather,
Okay, thank
one,
you.
considering the Nigerian diversity, let me not say Muslim, but let's say, one religion, one religion affiliation, a kind of government where, be it a
Okay.
Christian, or
That
Muslim.
will be. I will not welcome that because that will be ignoring the sensitivity of the other group. If it's a Christian ticket, I will not be happy. I have to state it here. And I know that the vast majority of Northerners will not be happy. And so also if it's a Muslim ticket, I don't think it is fair. And also, when we narrow it down to the state of Kaduna, of course, Kaduna is place I'm so proud of the changes that we've experienced today. Courtesy of the governor, I think, yes, I would say, without having to digress here that he has done a very good job. But when you do a Muslim hit, I think you are going to the faces of other constituents, other citizens of the state, that you do not matter. And I don't think that we should send such message to anybody. Everybody should matter. Every single person should matter. It is wrong. It is unfair. It is insensitive to do that. Why do I say that? If you're looking for competent people, for crying out loud, you can tell me that you have a block of Christian people, or about 9 local governments from Kaduna State who are dominated by Christian. You cannot find a competent Christian person that can perform as good or even better than the person you chose. I think that's a wrong narrative. And coming to the national stage also, I think it's a slap if you look at the population of, say, over 80 million Nigerians who are Christians, and you say, oh, you cannot find a competent person. Then it beggars, you have to ask the question, in the first place, before primary elections held, you people argued from North, okay, it is the turn of the South, because you consider it as unfair. You saw the insensitivity in having to hand over power from a northerner to another northerner. And you decided, okay, no, it's the turn of the South people, of the southern Nigeria, sorry, to take the next 8 years. And then when you come to selecting on the basis of religion, you say, no, it doesn't matter, it's about competence. Why didn't you say it's about competence when you were during the primary? You'd have argued it's about competence and choose somebody from the north and see the reaction. We have to be honest. We have to say these things with honesty. When people come, I can defend anything. Everybody here can defend anything they want to defend. It's about our interest. But no, if you say this is what it is during primaries, the South have to have a shot for the next 8 years because the North have enjoyed it for 8 years. And then you come into selecting a vice and you're saying, no, Christians shouldn't bother. It's about competence. So let's take a Muslim ticket should fly. That's not good. That's not good argument.
Okay.
That's not good argument.
Before we continue,
Yes.
There is a comment from the comment section that you can see on the screen from Mike Abaraji. Says, my father's house in Tudunwada,
Kaduna, yes,
was given back to him in 1970, which he later sold that same year. I mean, that is a confirmation of what you said earlier in terms of when, after the war, those that came back got their properties back. Now, let us, move quickly to the main issue. Now, obviously you are a P2B supporter. Then I'll start by asking you, have you met the man P2B before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so what then?
I have been a staunch critic of some of his economic, suggestions, I would say, on Twitter, where I am a little bit active. I see these videos and I'll argue this, I'll argue that about his kind of suggestions as to how Nigeria is to go out of this place. But I think the best question you should be asking is what actually informed my change of mind.
That is the second part of that question, because I started by asking you if you have ever met him. Now
I haven't.
You've because this conversation stemmed of the fact that you are someone who supports him. You're very active on Twitter, yet you haven't met him. Then the question naturally will be, why in the Nigerian street parlance, why they carry the matter for your head?
Thank you very much. I would have loved to go back to broken like you, but let me stick to the manageable Queen's English I can muster. I chose Peter Obi for one obvious reason: accessibility. We have two major candidates who've been in power for some time. I've talked about Atiku, we know Tinubu, and we know that their parties have actually blocked Nigerians, from access to our leader. Imagine you vote for president and you are in distress and you have to beg for a president to talk to Nigerians. You have to ask him, you have to beg, you have to plead. And no, nobody says anything. Now, I chose Peter Obi because I believe that as a new player in the political scene and on federal level, I think, and I believe so, that once he gets a shot, he should have learned from the mistakes of past governments, both on the PDP side, on the APC side, and should be able to give Nigeria what they yearn for, a leader who actually works for Nigerians, who actually see the job not as not as him doing us a favor, because that's what I see with President Muhammadu Buhari. I think most of the time I see like he feels he's doing Nigerians a favor for being their president. But I want to see a new player in the field who actually would feel that, okay, this thing has been given to me in trust, and will be answerable to Nigerians as to what he is doing as a president, as a leader of the people. So accessibility is one of the major reasons I chose a new person in the field. That's on one hand. And the second reason is the other parties are fielding people who have been there all these years. They have no answer to the problems, the myriads of problems that Nigerians are facing. They have tried their best. They have moved from one party to the other. They've done everything, and I think this is the best they can do. I do not see how for 8 years we cannot see improvement in the system of governance in this country. So we should look for a new person. And Peter Obi, for me, is the face of that new Nigeria. I do not ask him for, I've not asked for anything. I want to work with somebody who is new in the field.
Are there other people like you, maybe influencers within your sphere of influence, that also support him? And why do you think they also do like you do?
Yes, there are very many here in the north, and hopefully in the coming days we begin to see them, because we have sat down, we have talked, we have looked at the situation in northern Nigeria. And seriously, Maazi, this is about northern Nigeria, not just Nigeria, but northern Nigeria. We are very particular about the state of northern Nigeria today. Beyond religion, beyond tribe, we've tried our own people, and we seem to be going deeper and deeper in the insecurity situation in the country, with no solution in sight. So I have very many influencers who I'm talking to. I've been able to convince them, and I look forward to bringing them on very soon. I think in the next few days, you'll begin to see what we are doing on ground and online. You will see them, and you will know that we are not just talking. We are here to change the narrative, and most importantly is we want to fix a relationship that benefits all of us. It's important that I stress that. We have a relationship that is broken. You go to Sabongari Market today, the largest number of traders in Sabongari Market, Kano, are Igbo people. The Hausa man comes, the Muslim man comes every day, buys from them. They trade, they also sell. It's a buy and sell relationship. Why should the relationship just end at buying and selling? Why? Why can't we go beyond that? Why can't we look beyond all that? We go to hospitals here, the Igbo man treats us. Why can't we go beyond that? I think it's something that we should start asking ourselves.
No,
So
no,
I have them enough, and we will work, and you will see what we'll do.
okay. So that's fine. Now, if you are to advise, what is
Yes.
it that Mr. Peter Obi would have to do in order to get northern votes or to permeate the north the more? What are those things that should be in the cards by now?
That's what we are working on currently. I have spoken to several people who have access to the presidential candidate of Labour Party. First and foremost, we want him to own his campaign. We want his face plastered everywhere around the north. So we would want him to come to the north. We want him to talk to us, to address people. And we have it already cooking, where we'll bring him up here, we'll talk to him, and he would present himself to Northerners and show why he is actually the person that we should vote for. Beyond that, we want him to send a message of, to stretch his hand, a message of bridge building. We want to see that happen. We want to see the Easterners and Northerners on a different level in terms of political relationship. We don't want it to end on just a mere buying and selling, the trader, the buyer, or the seller. No, we want it to go beyond that. And that is why we want Peter Obi to come over to the north. And there are some of these narratives that have been spread about Peter Obi. I, for one, have not been able to clarify that. And I think it will be up to him to come to the north and tell us, oh, those things you heard about my period as a governor in Anambra State, telling you people I drove Northerners out of Nigeria, out of Anambra, I did this or I did that to Northerners. We want him to come to the north, address a cross-section of Northerners, and we hope to televise that across all local TVs here in the north. He needs to talk to Northerners, let them know, give them reasons to trust him, and also debunk those narratives where those narratives that have been sold to Northerners that he hates Northerners. We want him to come and do that.
So do you, without excluding yourself as a Northerner,
yes,
do you believe those narratives as they have been shared or said?
Like I've said before, when I was talking now, I told you, I said, I've not been able to verify that, but we have access now to the person who is at the center of this. So I think that him coming to Kaduna or to any northern state, for example, to address Northerners, and would hear from him firsthand. And I know for sure that he will be able to handle that and convince Northerners, because Northerners, quite frankly, apart from what people from the South think about Northerners, they think for themselves. They own these things. They own whatever they do. We get this wrong narrative that it's where maybe a Malam tells them to go. That's where they go. No, Northerners are not like that. It's a wrong narrative. They think for themselves. So I would expect that he, as a presidential hopeful, will be able to debunk that and say this is what, and whatever he says will fly very well. It's clear, because I did not see Arewa people being killed as at that time. I did not witness it. I was in Okuzu. I was in Okuzu. Let me land. I was in Okuzu. I think I hope I'm pronouncing that very well.
Yes, Okuzu, that's right.
Yes, Okuzu. I was in Okuzu in between 2006 and 2007. I didn't experience any such hostility, even though I am not part of those section of Muslims that were purported to have been treated like that, but I did not experience any hostility. In fact, I saw people worshiping me as, oh, this man, Namalamu. Oh, I want to pray. They want to watch me pray. These are some of the things I experienced. So I think we need him to talk. I wouldn't be the one to help him clarify that because I am not part of his government. But I know for sure that Peter Obi, the person I see on TV every time talk, would have answers to whatever anybody wants to throw at him. And I hope that he will listen to our yearnings and come to the north and address us.
Okay, now can we dwell a little bit on those narratives?
Yes.
Maybe there are some we may be able to dispel by the mere conversation we're having before probably he then joins you guys and clarify
Yes.
more. What are
Yes.
those narratives? Can you give us two
Good.
examples?
I think there's just one basic one, which is the fact that during his tenure as governor in Anambra State, that he profiled Northerners, Muslims, and chased them, those who refused to register under a scheme that he tried to bring up, so to speak, were, were asked to leave the state. These are narratives that are everywhere. You see them even on, I think there are papers that carried all those news then. How true they were, I do not know. For whatever reason he did that, I do not know. But I would believe that we could narrow it down to economic reasons, because people, for example, in Kaduna State today, indigenous as citizens of Kaduna have been asked to register and have a residency cards and all that. They do them everywhere in developed countries. They do these things. People have social security numbers and all that. So I want to believe that it's a possibility. I'm not speaking for Peter Obi, but it could be that for some economic reason he needed to plan. So the argument will be, okay, why didn't he do it why did he make it about Northerners only? Why didn't he do it with Igbo people in Anambra State?
Well,
I don't know.
well, on that one, without again, like you said, without speaking for him, I am from Anambra
Yes.
State, and I can
Thank
tell
you
you
very much.
categorically that that is not true.
Thank you very much.
Reason, reason being is there was no basics for that. You're right. If there were anything to be done, which I think his predecessor eventually did, was to
Yes.
introduce what they call a tax code.
Thank
Now,
you.
it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you live in the state. Like personally, I didn't know about it until I went to renew my driver's license. And I was told
Okay.
I could not renew my driver's license if I do not have that. First, I have to
So
go
you could
across
see.
you
Now
know,
you could see. And this is a narrative that has been going around for years now about the person Peter Obi, and the more reason why I am insisting that we need him to come and debunk some of this narrative, to change them from how the average Northerners see him to who he truly is: a
mm,
detribalized Nigerian, uh, an astute economic, powerhouse, um, a leader who actually understands what governance entails, and someone who I have seen is very accessible to his constituents. I need him to replicate that accessibility, in the national stage, because it is important that whoever leads this country should be as accessible to Nigerians of all tribes, any religion, whatever walk of life. Are you okay? Imagine that ASU is on strike. I have not seen our president talk about it apart from the usual Twitter, uh, threads that his media advisors come on Twitter to tell us about what the president said. Nobody have said that. For months now, children are at home, students are at home doing nothing. And you have a president Who doesn't? I don't want to say things. I don't want to talk like the normal, bitter person out there who wants to just blab and abuse, insult. No, I don't insult people. But come on, let's talk about this thing. What kind of a president? What kind of a leader sits down and the powerhouse of your country, the youths, students are at home for months and nobody have spoken to them. Nobody is saying this is what we are doing. We are expected to listen to either the labor minister or his media aides tell us what government have done or what this is what they are trying to do and this is what they are trying to do. I think it's not fair to Nigerians. We have to be honest about these things.
Okay, so now, in rounding up, I want to,
Yes.
start closing this conversation, but I wouldn't, it would be a disservice to you and our time
Yes.
here if I do not extract the following information.
Thank you.
As a young Northerner, as a progressive Northerner, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur,
Yes.
what is it you would be expecting from whoever that wins the 2023 presidential election?
Okay. First off, I would expect a leader that is, uh, um, accessible and actually empathetic to the plight of Nigerians. And secondly, I would expect a leader who actually recognizes the various different constituents that makes up Nigeria and work towards harmonizing and bringing about peaceful coexistence and understanding between the various tribes and religions that make up Nigeria. Uh, we want to see. Let me give you a typical example. When the IPOP issue started, I need to bring this up. We saw the response of the president. The response of the president was one of disdain. I am not okay with what's happening in the Southeast. I am not okay with the person leading such carnage on Nigerians. But I think as an individual, if I can feel this pain, I expect that a leader should be able to say, what's happening in the Southeast is also his problem. He shouldn't just wave it off as not a problem to him, by just feeling okay, it's a military problem, take it like that and do that. But why I'm not going to pin just that on him, even the response he has on the banditry happening in the middle belt and northwest Nigeria is also the same response from him. So one of this day, so I want to see a president that would actually see these things as a problem, because quite frankly, we've not seen any president doing that. But we need to see leaders who feel these things are a problem. Those who are affected are constituents of are his constituents, and whatever their tribe or religion, they should matter. That's on the other side. Then I want to see uh, a leader who would actually bring about policies that would change the way public office holders in this country send their words out of the country to school. You don't collect, I have not seen that anywhere in the world, where people collect public money. You're a public office holder. You're serving a country, but you collect public money and spend them privately. I don't think it happens anywhere. I know, maybe I need to be educated on that. But I think one of the major problems we have why our schools are closed today is because of that. It's because they have places to send their children with.
You're back. You're back now. Omar, you're back. I think the internet connection from Omar is slightly playing up. It's been very stable in the last couple of hours. Again, or rather, in the last couple of minutes, we are in the 55 minutes of this conversation and about to round up. What we, in the last 55 minutes, I have been speaking to Umar Ibrahim Ahmed, who is the CEO, the Farm Computers Limited, a chemical engineer from the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. He is a businessman and a political strategist. We have looked at various issues. We've looked at, issues from historical context. And one of the striking things that he said, and the reason why he is supporting P2B, a man, in his words, he's never met. He's never seen him. But, having watched him, having seen his videos, according to him, he's got drawn to him. And he began to research and he began to defend, some of these things that are narrative being pushed, on the social media. That this narrative, some of them have been there and they've been, long in the wind. So this conversation, obviously, it's interesting, and I believe many of us who have listened attentively, there are one or two things to take away from this conversation. In his words, when I asked him what he thinks the presidential candidate of the Labour Party will do as far as the North is concerned, he didn't mince any word by saying that he should come and speak to them. And in speaking to them, that there are some narratives, mostly false, that he needs to debunk. There are accusations that he needs to, tell them point blank, look them in the eyes and say, no, these things are not true. Recall that according to Umar, he said that he was accused of sending the Northerners out or even giving them an ID card as a means of identification. Well, identification on its own is not bad. I am aware that even today, that in many countries in Europe, you couldn't live in a place without identification. It is also a truism that, for instance, in Germany, that you can be fined if you move from one house to another without informing the state, where you have a grace of 2 weeks. And after that 2 weeks, you will get a fine from the state by just moving your house. Now, again, considering the insecurity in the country, something like that, though not done, but it's something actually, think about it deeper. Why federal government may have whatever they want to do, states also should also know the number of their, citizens for tax purposes and also for planning purposes. They must also know the demography of the citizens of that state. Umar went ahead to say that there are narratives that are very ripe within his region, and this narrative needs to be debunked again by him. He says he should come and speak to them, maybe in their radio stations and in the TV stations, and probably offering himself to be part of that engagement. Indeed, it has been a fantastic conversation, and I did personally enjoy this conversation. Again, I say we have sadly come to the end of this conversation this evening. It has been part of the State of the Nation series, which today's event then is titled the 2023 election, voting P2B, the new narrative in Northern Nigeria. And that new narrative in Northern Nigeria, when I asked Umar what he thinks about the narrative, and he didn't mince words to say that this narrative is that Nigeria then needs a person who is business friendly, a person who can push that narrative, who can make them see that there are things that they haven't benefited from the previous government, which people from their side have actually been at the head of that, and it hasn't really benefited them, that they can see a change to their lives security-wise. And he did make a comparison between what was obtainable under Goodluck Jonathan. Yes, bombs were going up, but according to him, that the death and the casualties are more even when bombs are not going off. You may go back again and watch the whole interview and watch the whole clip. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. And I say to you now, thank you very much for being part of this. This once more is Njenje Media TV. If you haven't subscribed to us across our various platforms, please by all means do. If you have subscribed, please, you can click on the bell icon so that you can receive notifications whenever we come online. Or you can as well share this video, that we have to educate one another. Umar, once more, I say thank you for being my guest this evening. And I will say everyone watching us globally, once more, have a wonderful evening. And I am still your host, Maazi Ezeoke. And I say good evening once more.